Great. It's good to be here. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, depending on where you are. It's 1 p.m. on Wednesday, right here in Nairobi, Kenya. Yet another episode of the Candid Money Talk. I'm glad to be your host. For those who are joining us for the first time, I'm Edith Sidondo. I'm a certified money coach and the founder and CEO of Profit Acumen, a money coaching firm. And this forum of the Candid Money Talk is a very useful forum, a space where we get to share and open the closet of money. You know, money has been known to be a taboo subject where people don't speak about it. At dinner table, everyone speaks about everything else, but not money. And in this forum, we want to demystify this subject because anything that is kept in the closet, in there goes with a lot of pain, a lot of shame, a lot of conflict, and you just don't get solutions. So this is your solution space on matters money. So feel free to engage, to comment, to share, to reach out to us. All our contacts are on the screen, and reach out to us so that we can address the areas of concern that you may have on your money matters. And we also keep asking you to give us topics that you'd want us to address on this forum. Like today's forum is courtesy of a feedback we've got from one of our listeners, and they wanted us to address matters debt. And that informs our topic for episode 15. So the question is it bad to be in debt? Why do I feel condemned? Because I have debt. And that is a question. And I go back and ask that question to all of us, because sometimes we don't pay attention to the fact that large organizations also have debt. Governments have debt. So it's just the fact that it's a debt that what makes it a problem? And for sure, the answer is no. So let's find out. What would make my debt good or my debt bad? So that we get things right from the word go. Because we know of great ventures, great businesses that have begun through debt, through a borrowing. The whole idea is, what do you do with the debt? So let's look at some of the attributes of a good debt and those of a bad debt, so that we can begin to change whatever it is that may be causing our debt, which was maybe initially good, to become bad, and vice versa. So the first point, a good debt is a debt where you have the ability to repay it responsibly. And the word here is responsibly. When you take one debt and use that debt to repay another and cycle again, do the same thing the next period where a debt is used to pay a debt, then that is not responsible way of managing your debt. And that makes your debt not good. You need to have the ability to repay those debts within the obligated time frame. And your debt costs, are they competitive? If you compare what is in the market, is that the best you would have got for borrowing that amount of money? When you look at things like the credit card debt, there's Shylock debt. They are very expensive. And often you find by the time you're going that direction, there are already problems somewhere. So you find you're really paying high costs for very little money. Yeah. So are your debt costs competitive? Because that will determine whether it's a good debt or it's a bad debt. Then your repayments, are they synchronized? The time when your debt falls due, is it synchronized to when your cash inflows are coming in? And this becomes a concern for especially people who do not have regular income, maybe people who are in business and they have not yet gotten to a point where they have regular income. Then you find that your obligations fall due today, yet your cash inflows are coming maybe a month later. And it means then this debt begins accumulating additional costs because of late payment. So if you are not, they are not synchronized to your cash inflows, then it begins to make this debt so expensive and move it from a good debt to a bad debt. Then the opportunity cost. When you take up a certain decision, and money, how we use money is about making decisions. So when you take a decision to use this money maybe to renovate your house, as opposed to maybe putting it into your business, you look at what is the opportunity cost? What have I lost? What is the gain I would have gotten if I put this money into my business as opposed to renovating my house? What is the opportunity cost of putting the money where I put it? So we need to evaluate that, and that will tell us whether our debt is good or our debt is bad. Then the return on investment. Yeah, when you take that debt, did you invest it? Wherever you invested it, does it have a good return? Even if it doesn't have a good return now, does it have the potential of future good returns? Then that will make your debt either good or bad. And then lastly, the future value. Often you find we take big debts like mortgages to put it into assets which have a potential of a future value. When you look at the potential future value of that asset, is it worth going to generate for you more in the sense that it will make you hold assets with a greater net worth compared to the liability of the debt? So if it increases your net worth where your assets are higher than the liabilities, then it's a good debt. But I want to put a caveat here. Often you find the middle class are known for taking debt to finance liabilities, which they call assets. And here, when we talk of liabilities, are things that take away money out of your pocket. And assets put money in your pocket. And this is not the conventional accounting principles of assets liabilities. Here now we are looking at cash flow. And when you find that all the money you put in, you take for debt, goes into things that take away money from your pocket. For instance, a car. Yeah? What does a car do? When it leaves the showroom and it's in your hands, it depreciates in value. Once it has depreciated, you begin spending on its fueling it. You begin spending on maintaining it. It continuously takes money out of your pocket. Yeah. So if you look at that, and maybe if it's not a car that is generating for you income, then you need to pay attention and see, is my car an asset or is it a liability? So when these attributes are present on your debt, where it's giving you generating for you a return on investment, it's increasing your net worth, the opportunity cost of whatever you did with the money is it costs you less than what it would have cost you to do something else, another alternative. The debt cost is competitive. You have the ability to repay. Your debt obligations are synchronized with your cash inflows. Then it's a good debt. And the opposite, it's a bad debt. When you find you have debts that you cannot transmute, you cannot move them into a monetary equivalent. They're just, you've used the debt on things that can never generate for you any money. Then you begin to question yourself, is this a good debt for me or is it a bad debt for me? The bottom line is, the key determinant is what the debt does for you. Often you find debt is the most highly sold financial instrument, and in fact, the credit card to be specific. So often you find, because maybe as an organization, the financial institution has given you a favorable rate, many people run to take debts, but don't pay attention. What is this debt going to do for me? So you take debt because it's available. But when you take debt, you pay attention on just the principal amount. You ignore the cost of the debt. So let's say, for instance, you've taken a debt of 100, let's say $10,000. That is 1 million Kenya shillings. And the cost of that debt is $1,000. That is 100,000 Kenya shillings. When you look at your obligation cannot be $10,000. It has to be $11,000, including the cost of the debt. Yes, because you'll have to repay the principal and the interest. That is the contingent liability on that debt obligation. So when you look at what the cost of that additional $1,000, having taken the debt, what does that $10,000 do for you? When you compare the two, then it means you have a good debt if it's making you some form of current or future returns. So it should always be more than what you do for the debt. And what are the things you do for the debt? You pay an initial cost, you pay interest on the debt. If that money, you've taken debt and it's sitting in your account, it's being hit by inflation. So number one, you have to know, why am I taking the debt? What is it going to do for me? So that we just don't take debt as a status. I have a mortgage, I have this, I have that. Yet there's nothing, you're not generating anything from these debts. Yeah? So the bottom line, it should always be more. Whatever you do, whatever that debt does for you should always be more than what you do for the debt. So I hope you found this of value. Yes? So whoever asked this question, so go back and look at your debt book and see one by one, what has this debt done for me? And go into the details, even the small debts like Fuliza, Mshwari, credit card, circle loans. What has this debt done for me, as opposed to what I'm doing for the debt? I hope that has answered your question. Thank you for always tuning in and joining our live sessions. Continue sending in your questions. Remember to like, comment, and share. This is a space that we would like to engage and interact and learn as we go along. And the more we get your comments and your questions and suggestions, the more we make it better for everyone. And remember to get a copy of your ebook, A Simple Start Guide to Elevate Your Financial Well-Being. There's a link on this video. Get your copy of the Simple Start Guide to Elevate Your Financial Well-Being so that you can begin to transform your own money journey. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Always excited to be here for you. Thank you. Bye for now.